Notts County Talk, massive numbers in already, and we're only 30 seconds into the show. So a massive thank you for everyone that's joining us. Episode 63 of the Pavis Perspective. You would have just seen a banner at the bottom, which might have made you panic that you've missed some. It did say episode 623 of the Pavis Perspective, but I can assure you we haven't got time to film that many. So there it is, episode 63. I got carried away. It's how many I would have wanted, but massive numbers in watching with us. So appreciate that. As always, powered by Better Bytes computers. We couldn't do the episodes without the help they give us, and we are always live on a Better Bytes computer laptop. So go and check those out. Links in the description. And if you're listening back on Spotify, appreciate that as well. Loads of you joining us. Derek, Chris, Debbie, Shane, Ian, loads of you have tuned in on this Thursday night. And I couldn't have put it better, Chris. And I'm sure George will agree, this week is dragging massively.
Yeah, it is. It is. We literally just saying before we gone live, it feels like ages since there's been a game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it is. It's just the week's dragging because we're looking forward to Saturday so much. Huge occasion. I think it will definitely be the biggest crowd I've seen in my lifetime. Maybe not actually.
We won League Two.
Yeah, that was probably it. Yeah, when we lifted the trophy.
Yeah,
that was definitely it. But you know, what a great time to be a Notts fan, eh?
Man City,
15.
Was it
14 or 15 something? I want 16.
If it was City now, it would be, even though they were pretty good then, it'd be a lot more now, wouldn't it? Even in Ellie, James, Matt, David, Benjamin, loads of you joining us. Appreciate it. So much to talk about. I think, as you were saying, George, it feels a long time since a game because we couldn't make Eastleigh, unfortunately. It's one we're looking to do all the away games, but we, some can't always make them, and Eastleigh was unfortunately one we couldn't quite do. But for the people that did go there, the curse is broken, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and it's another one, isn't it? It's another one ticked off. Like I sort of said in the reaction to the result. We've lost every time we've gone there. All of a sudden, Luke Williams comes in and we win the game comfortably. And it really was comfortably. You're looking at the stats after the game, possession, to be at home and have 28% possession. That's embarrassing. But it also highlights how good we were. So, it's just all those little doubts that you have, slowly but surely, one by one, being sort of ticked away, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And that's important because once you've sort of got one of those ticked off, you look at the next one, or some players have been here, I know it's been mentioned, but some players will have been here for Torquay and that game's been ticked off, and there's some of those same players for Eastleigh that's been ticked off. Some of the big games we couldn't handle ourselves in, Wrexham, it's now been ticked off. I know we beat them at our ground last year, but it's all important stuff. I wanted to say as well, the travelling fans sounded unbelievable from what I listened to on the radio. Unbelievable. I don't know if that came through for you. Obviously, we listened to the same thing, but whether you could hear that in the background, and especially on the highlights of the goals.
Yeah, they did. I agree, and nothing changes there for me really. I think every time you listen along on the radio, you can always hear Notts fans, and like you say, every time we score, it's obviously highlighted, but they're always fantastic. And I think I was reading a few online, a few people on Twitter saying that it's one of the best away atmospheres I've had for a while. So it's good stuff.
I'm going to pull this comment in because this is a really nice comment from Thomas. Says, Man U fan now living in Nottingham. So happy to see Notts doing well. Third time lucky. So much potential with your club as crowd tomorrow. Saturday demonstrate. It's time to go up, lads. You deserve it. So great comment there from Thomas. I really do feel like as fans, as a club as well, the way we're being run is good, but as fans, we deserve something, don't we? We deserve some positivity massively, and this would be fantastic to get it. I don't want to get too carried away from the Eastleigh game because I do want to talk about that before we go on. But half time, we're listening together as we do when we don't make it to a game. We have a listen, we message each other as the game goes on. Gets to half time and it's still 0-0. What are your thoughts then? because I put a tweet out saying we desperately need a goal because I can see Eastleigh going for it late on and just trying to hang in there as long as possible. What were you thinking at half time?
No, I agree. But there's been a few games this season, I think, where we've looked like we desperately needed a goal before half time. And if not, we need one early into the second half, because it sort of feels like the way that we're playing and the way that we've seen games pan out this season, if we get a goal early enough, it puts so much confidence into the team, and then that's when the game opens up, which it did in the second half. We get our first goal, the game opens up because they're obviously sitting in, playing very defensive style. Once they go one down, they have to come out, and that suits us down to the ground, doesn't it? So, the sooner we get that first goal, the better, really. But yeah, it just pretty much sums up what I've just said for me, really. We're desperate for that first goal because we know when that first goal comes that we're going to get more opportunities.
Any surprise who scored the first goal?
No,
it's not anymore, is it?
It's not, no.
And he's just so good. I've got to highlight in that first goal, if you haven't seen it, and I highlighted it as well on my Twitter, is the cross from Adebayo.
Yeah, he had a good game.
They almost double up on him. We'll talk about wing backs a little bit later, but they double up on him, and obviously do their homework, don't you? Do you think they're told, basically, whoever plays at right wing back, do you think they're told that the opposition managers are saying, look, they're going to be lightning quick whoever you face?
Yeah. Because it has to be. They're so quick, aren't they, both players?
You look back and the guy's almost jockeying him from sort of 5 yards away. And you give him space, he's going to run into that space. A brilliant ball. One of those that catches the keeper at no man's land. As a keeper, you can't stand at the back post and wait for it to come to you, so you have to go towards the ball. Goes over the head, and we've seen Chickson miss a few of those this season because he's not a striker. But that one, very, very good finish. And that will bring a debate a little bit later about wing backs, which, get involved in the live chat, because one side we're pretty much sorted for wing backs as something else we're going to talk about. But the other side, it's now a bit of a competition in my eyes. I don't know about your eyes, George, but we'll have a talk about that.
We'll have a talk.
We'll have a chat. We'll have a nice chat. The poll today then: who has Luke Williams improved the most? Now, obviously, as a collective, we are massively improved, and I feel like if this side could somehow go into like an alternate universe and play against the exact same side that Birchnell put out in even that Grimsby game at the end of last season, I think we'll wipe the floor with them this year. Even though a lot of the players are the same, I just think we would pass them off the bar. Here's a Channel mascot, look.
Here she is.
Here she is. Score prediction? What's she saying?
Said 2-0. 2-0 Yeovil. Oh, dear.
2-0 Yeovil. Does she know we're live?
Yeah, she does, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there's been a lot of call for us to be back on the channel, so it's good to see.
There we go. There she is.
If you're listening on Spotify and you can't see it, George is being viciously assaulted by the channel mascot, and it's painful to see. So who's he improved the most then? Ruben Rodriguez, who, I don't know if you saw his piece earlier in the week. Aaron Neman.
Interesting that was.
Or Adam Chickson. What's striking me at the moment is that it's almost 75% in favour of one person.
Yeah.
And I think it was going to be obvious. I didn't think it'd be this sort of landslide, but there's really only going to be one winner in that situation. Have you put your vote in? I always ask this. You put your vote in?
Of course I have. Yeah, of course I have. Have you?
I put my vote in. Do you think we'll be shocked by your vote? No. Okay.
I feel like you're going to say something completely different to the favourite. Just to be different.
No, it's not just to be different.
Okay.
And you don't even know if I've not gone for Adam Chickson.
I just sense it.
Yeah, well, you might be wrong.
I can sense it.
You never judge a book by its cover, ever. You should know that. Do you know what we didn't give enough credit to last week? And we came off the show, and I had a look at the table again, and I reassessed the table. We never once mentioned Eastleigh's home record. Not once. We never once said they haven't lost at home. Sometimes I think we were so fixated on the curse that we never beat them that we didn't actually look at the bigger picture. Like, they're beating Chesterfield there, and there's a comment up here from Shane, and I'll pull it up here. Look, second half, Eastleigh didn't have a look in. There were no threat at all, were they?
Yeah.
Do you think? And I'm sure you'll have seen this on Twitter. After we win games, I look at our Twitter and then look at the opposition. And there's now 3 games within the last month where every single opposition's Twitter has had at least one comment saying we're the best team they've seen this season. Have you clocked that? Southend fans were saying it, and we drew 2-2, and we thought it was a poor performance.
I think the thing is as well, you have to look at it from. I mean, whilst we've been in the National League, I don't really think there's been many games where we have been dominated, as there really. Do you know what I mean?
No.
There's been one or two here and there. But you know when a team comes to your home ground, dominate possession, create all the chances, you can't help but say that. I think you've got to look at the sort of bigger picture, haven't you? And on paper, it doesn't really get much worse than that for a home side, does it?
No.
So you have to give credit to the opposition for that, because we made it like that.
And do you know what?
I don't really think it was. I don't really think it was like they were poor. I just think it was that we were really good on the day.
Do you know what's really telling? Do you know in the past, in the last 2 or 3 years, if we'd have gone to Eastleigh 1-2-0 and they'd had 28% possession, rightfully so, the fans will be going mad. 28% possession at home. They'll be saying stuff like that. 28% possession at home, not even having a shot. Like, it's embarrassing. We've got to be doing better than this. They just accepted it. They literally just accepted it. They're saying, and I saw one comment genuinely said, the best side I've seen this season, and we won't be playing teams like that every week. They're not even disheartened.
I think an interesting point on that, and this might sound a bit conflicting, but we are because we are top of the league. I think it is easy for teams to say that. I know we obviously are the best team in the league, as the league suggests at this moment in time. But I think when you are top of the league, it is easier for teams to say that. And I know that sounds conflicting, but I think, if you do, maybe not perform as well or against a team that's top of the league, I think it's easy to just say, oh, they're the best team in the league, the best team we play, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean?
I get that. I do get that. But at the same time, do you not think, well, this is also sort of backing your point up. I kind of feel teams that we beat almost want us to go. A lot of the opposition fans want us to go up more than Wrexham, so they're a bit more complimentary to us.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. Yeah,
and I do think if Wrexham had gone there, 28% possession, 1-2-0, the comments would have been something along the lines of, "Oh well, we can't compete with the money." You know what I mean? Down. It's just that's just shocking behaviour from a channel mascot. Really poor behaviour.
There we go.
Yeah, I do think that plays a little part as well. I genuinely do. Let's have a look at some of your comments then. Chris, the thing that's nice is that we are top, but more or less the rest of the league is willingness to beat Wrexham to the title. Exactly what I've just said. We've won a lot of his admirers this season. And do you know what? It's because we're doing things the right way as well. I'm not saying
as well. Staying on the Wrexham point. Sorry to interrupt you, Tom. When we play them away, as big of a game as that could be, it's on a bank holiday Monday.
Is it?
It is.
It's also 4 or 5 games in the season.
Yeah, I think it's the. I want to say it's the 10th of April, which I think is a bank holiday Monday.
Really, big game, massive game. So yeah, looking back at Eastleigh, to sum it up, pretty faultless performance. Away fans, fantastic voice, and just in general, how long did you think Wrexham would stay top for? It's a hard one to say, but I can't really answer that definitively. But I definitely didn't think we'd be back top straight away.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I genuinely thought that would be, not that'd be it, but I thought they'd be top for a while, and I thought it'd take some moving. But obviously I was wrong. But it's a surprise because, Wrexham, you'd never have said they were going to draw, would you?
No.
They were given a really good opportunity, I think, there, but they've not taken it. And does that tell us something? Can they deal with the pressure of being top? I mean, it's obviously early to say because it was literally one game. But the one game that that has sort of been like a factor in the game. It's proven, hasn't it? And it's going to be such an interesting rest of the season, I think.
Yeah, the only thing that sort of goes in their favour is I think they had an FA Cup game or something, and they had more games than we had, and their fans said they looked shattered. But
yeah, good.
But we've looked really tired, and we've sort of had the same response.
Yeah.
We looked tired in some of our games. We got the draw, but
yeah. And the thing is as well, Luke Williams has made it pretty clear that players can be tired, but it's not an excuse.
Good, yeah.
He sets really high standards. It's good, isn't it? Because there's been some managers over the years, and they've just used quite a lot of excuses. I'm really, even when there's been some awful refereeing decisions, I'm yet to see Luke Williams really, use an excuse like this. You know what I mean? So
he doesn't really, does he? He doesn't really say anything along the line. Like, he doesn't shy away from anything really, which is good. Always gives credit to the opposition. Like even Wealdstone away 6-1, they were decent attacking. They were pretty good attacking. They put us under pressure. They could have scored 1 or 2 in that first half. 100%. They got in behind our right hand side. They're Brindley and Aaron the man side. So yeah. Charlie, someone said on Twitter we've already sold 1,000 tickets for Scunthorpe. Could be a sellout away end. And yeah, we travel well. We do travel well. Got my tickets for Scunthorpe. Jake, if you're watching, don't forget it's your drive. I've got Halifax out the way. I think I did York. It's just Jake's drive. Let's go to something we've already mentioned then. And before we go to it, I just want to say, if anyone's watching that is looking for a bit of extra information before they head to Meadow Lane for possibly one of the only times they've been or one of the first times, and is looking for a bit more extra information, look back at some of our other videos from post matches this season. They're only 3 or 4 or 5 minutes long max, and just have a listen to the players to look out for. I mean, you'll have heard some throughout the show tonight, and if you do enjoy it on Saturday, come back, because although it's cheap tickets, what's being seen at Meadow Lane at the minute is the best football I've ever seen. From being a Notts fan, the best football I've seen. And also,
there's a few obvious ones in there, isn't there? Ones to watch, but I think Casper Sloth, you can't forget him.
Christian Oxlade-Chamberlain.
He's good. A few to mention.
He's good. No, but also, if you want to know more, just drop a subscription. Appreciate over 100 people watching us on this Thursday night. Let's go to the Ruben Rodriguez interview then. Talk about Birchnell. For people that haven't heard it, do you want to just give a brief overview of what he said in that Birchnell piece?
Yeah, so the main talking point, which I've seen a lot of people sort of quoting on Twitter, was him saying that if Birchnell would have stayed, he think he'd have left. That wasn't him quoted word for word. That was pretty much the outline of what he said. Not sure. I don't know. I thought it was a bit strange. Maybe I'm not sure. Does that mean with another year of Williams, he's thinking? I mean, his contract's up at the end of this season, I believe. Whether we'll see an extension, that's a different story, isn't it? But interesting really, because you never really know what's going on behind the scenes, do you? Things can look good, but for him to say that, I thought that was a little bit, I don't know, a bit strange. Wouldn't have expected him to say that. Do you know what I mean?
I read it from another angle. I see it as him just being brutally honest as a professional, and I think you could change the word Ian Birchnell to any manager.
Yeah.
And I think I think also there's a slight language barrier, isn't there? Obviously, not massive. He speaks very good English. There might be a slight language barrier of when he says it, and it's being reported as. I see it as he had Ian Birchnell for 2 years. We didn't go up, and he wasn't seeing many more improvements in his game. He wasn't taking his game to the next level. As in, Ruben's game wasn't going to the next level. So I think he thought, we're not gone up. I'm not improving massively as a player, so we'll try it out somewhere else or with a different manager.
Yeah.
He got massive amounts of goals and assists last year, but I think he's just thinking that. I just think he wants to develop even more. Jordan. To be fair, Jordan's made a good point for once. He said, I think it's more because he felt he had developed as much as he could under him, not because he was a bad manager and coach. I agree. I mean, Forest Green fans would disagree. I don't know if you've seen the video of Birchnell walking off the pitch.
Yeah, it's bad.
Got a feel from a little bit.
Yeah, but that's for me. That video shows that, like it says, there's two types of fans. There's some fans they're sort of cheering him on, saying, "Come out better second half" or whatever. But there's some fans there being pretty brutal, isn't there? But
Yeah.
it is interesting, isn't it? Because the reality is, I think the job given to him was to sort of survive, isn't it, in League One?
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to go into a league and think you're going to smash it when you've just won, one promotion. But
I had genuinely had them to go down anyway. It's a massive ask to go into League One. Look at some of the clubs in there.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually some huge clubs in League One.
Yeah, there are, and they're like signing players like Armani Little from Torquay. Really good player for our division, but then you're asking him to step up 2 divisions, and
I think he's struggling, isn't he?
Yeah, and I don't know. I think Forest Green will keep Birchnell.
Yeah, I do as well. Their owner's very long term, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Let's go to some other news that broke not long before the game. Joel Taylor out on loan to Dagenham and Redbridge. Good for him.
Yeah.
But you could put Roberto Carlos in his prime in the not squad, and they're not knocking Adam Chickson off that position, are they?
No, they're not. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Joel Taylor's a good player, and I think he wants to be a first team player. But you can't take Chickson out. So you can't have 2 people that are massively thinking they're first team players vying for that position that there's no leeway. You're not going to budge him. You're not going to knock Chickson off that spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Where does that leave us, though? Because there was a question on Twitter posed to us earlier: is the squad light?
Yeah, I think that's a concern for quite a few fans now, isn't it? It is difficult, isn't it? Because my opinion and the way I see it is, if something does happen, for a short period of time, I think we'll have the bodies to sort of step in and fill. I mean, God forbid, touch wood and all of that stuff. Let's say one of the main goal scorers gets injured. We have goals coming from other places on the pitch. People can fill in. But sort of for me, I think the club aren't sleeping on, and they're not stupid to the fact that we are looking a little bit light. I think. Obviously, you look at Wrexham; they have a lot better squad depth than we do. But I think the owners and the recruitment team will have their fingers on the pulse of that. It's not like they're going to be sat there thinking, yeah, the squad's fine; it will be fine. I reckon that they'll have candidates lined up. Maybe we'll see a bit of movement in January in terms of a permanent signing. Who knows? But I think it's going to be taken care of. I don't see us just sitting and accepting it and letting it happen. I think there'll be things going on in the background that we don't even know about. If an injury does happen or something does arise, I think we'll probably see swift action, player brought in or players. But if the worst does happen, we do sort of even have, if we need to bring Joel Taylor back, we could. Same with Vincent. Same with Vincent as well.
Who I think would be a good replacement in that position, if we could bring him back, is
Calvin Miller.
If we need it. No. Luther. He's ripping it up. He played at wing back, like as an option for a game, like a few games. I'd have him as an option.
I wouldn't.
Definitely.
I wouldn't. And do you know why? I think when a young player who the manager said that he needs men's football is out on loan and he's having such a good loan spell, I think it'd be a shame to break it up, break it short, and then him not get much game time and sort of him miss, a period of playing, because I think that can affect young players, and he's at such a crucial point of his career. I'd leave him where he is for now and maybe just bring in a loan player to fill in.
Do you know what we utilised? Yeah, I was about to say that. The loan market last year, for the most part, did us wonders, didn't it? Some of the players we've had recently on loan in the last few years as well. Richardson actually was decent for us.
He was. Yeah, you obviously highlight the worst, don't you? But he was good. Patterson was immense.
Patterson was brilliant.
Number 1 in the championship now, isn't he?
Yeah, and we could easily do that, and we've probably got like you say, people lined up. We must do. Before we go on to Eastleigh, one more thing that massively disappointed me in the week. Honestly, it was, for me, really disappointing was the fact that Barnet won at Chelmsford. and the game's now being postponed.
Yeah, because we lose again, don't we, now at home?
Yeah, it goes to the 20th of December, I think. But for me, it almost has a feeling of a little bit later on in the year, last year, but we started to build momentum around Christmas, didn't we? And then there was postponements. Now, who's to say there won't be more postponements due to weather coming up? And now we've got that. And I was disappointed. It's like we played really well against Eastleigh. We're going in at home, massive crowd against Yeovil, and then there's another 2-week break. So, I don't know. It disappointed me. When they went down to 10 men, I thought Chelmsford have got a meal. They scored, went 1-0 up, and then I don't know if you're following the Twitter feed. I think they missed 2 open goals, Chelmsford, to level the game. Gutted. And I know a lot of people were replying, because people plan well ahead. A lot of people were replying basically saying they'd booked time off for that game to get to the home game, or, you know, travel already, because, you know, travel arrangements are difficult to make. And yeah, it's massively disappointing for me to then have a break. Also, Wrexham and Chesterfield are still in the cup, and we could have, say whatever, I don't know, if we win on Saturday, we could have had the opportunity to push even further, get 3 points on the board, and obviously would rather already have the 3 points on the board than have to be playing for them. Yeah, we could have put a gap there again. Disappointed, really disappointed that they won, but not surprised. Before the game, I thought they would probably win it. When the red came, I switched, but disappointing. Yeovil, what do you think? Let me just say, before you go on, no side in the division have scored fewer than their 16 goals. We've only scored a few more. We scored 49. So we've scored 3 times as many goals and then 1 than Yeovil. But they've only conceded, and I know this, you're going to say, well, Southend had only conceded a few, or York, but they've only conceded 4 more goals than us, which is not bad, is it?
Yeah, they've had a turbulent time of it, Yeovil, haven't they? It's not been plain sailing by any stretch of the imagination, has it? I know they lost their manager to Woking, didn't they? Not too long ago, and it has, it's, you know, the structure at the club has been, it's not been fantastic, has it?
No.
Of recent years, but you know, Yeovil they're a big club. You know, they've got. I remember not so long ago when they're in the
Championship.
In the Championship. What, that's not too long ago. Yeah, it's a shame, really. But I mean, obviously, on paper, everything's sort of in our favour, isn't it? We're top of the league. We need to keep that pressure on Wrexham. We've sold out Meadow Lane as much as we can anyway. I know it's not a complete sellout because of health and safety issues, but you can't help but feel like that will, you know, sort of go in our favour big time. So.
Yeah. Do you see any kind of nerves in front of that big crowd? Because some of these players will never have played in front of a crowd of this size. Personally, I don't. I think they're professional. I think they handle situations well. The Meadow Lane atmosphere at home to Wrexham was massive. Well, because of the size of the fixture, we'll probably almost mirror this in terms of atmosphere anyway. It's just more people, but I think, you know, Wrexham was massive. Do you see any issues with that?
I don't know. It's a good question. There might be 1 or 2 in there. Do you know? I can't really pinpoint any names, but I mean, maybe players that have literally never played in front of a crowd like that. I suppose if you can play in front of 8,000, what's 16,000 really? What's the difference?
And a lot of these played in the Forest game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So to be honest, I can't really see it affect the players. I think if anything, it could do the opposite, you know, and I think it will do the opposite.
Do you know? Yeah, I'm thinking. Imagine,
wouldn't it be so Notts County if it didn't though?
I was looking at outside there, thinking, wouldn't it be so Notts County if it gets rained off?
Yeah. Oh, I tell you, it's been raining today, hasn't it?
That'll be, you know what? Those Wrexham fans and Chesterfield fans that are moaning on Twitter would have a field day if it was called off, wouldn't they? Absolute field day. But it's not. I don't think it's going to rain Saturday, and I'm not sure about tomorrow. But they'd be loving it. Not sure why some fans. It's not just those 2 clubs, but some fans have such an issue with us. I don't know why.
I think it's good. I mean, I'm obviously going to be biased, but genuinely, I think it's a good incentive. And if any other club did it in the league, I would not have an issue with it at all.
Getting people to go to games for cheaper.
It has nothing to do with us if we're not at the game, does it really?
No,
So there we go.
And like someone said, you don't get promoted for having the biggest attendance. Like we're not going and saying, look how good we are, our attendance. We're literally just making it like a great event. What I was thinking back to the crowd, imagine, and we've seen it before when we get an early goal and we just slip into a rhythm. Imagine an early goal, like very early, like I'm talking first 10 minutes. Then I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy game because obviously they've got a new manager, haven't they? And they won 3-1 against Gateshead, who are, I think, at the foot of the table and really struggling now. But when early goal settles into rhythm, then I could see it being a bit of a hiding. If we can really get into that rhythm, almost the same as, was it Weymouth when fans were allowed back in for the first game? Almost that. Weymouth couldn't touch us because we had the fans behind us.
Yeah.
An early goal for me does it.
And you can't underestimate as well, if that does happen and there's a lot of fans in there that it's maybe their first game, maybe they don't really come down to football too much, and they see a really dominant performance, plenty of goals, just a good atmosphere as well. I think it could really do well for numbers coming down to the lane, increase attendance. So I think there'll be that incentive there for the players as well, and I think Williams will probably say something like that. Play well today, and you can entice a lot more new, younger fans, even any age really. It doesn't really matter, does it? But it's a huge opportunity, I think, for Notts, and the players will definitely be told that, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I'm looking at Yeovil's away form, which is absolutely shocking. Yeovil's away form. They've played 9 and picked up 5 points. They've scored 6 away from home. And to read out some of their recent results, they lost 1-0 at Woking. There's no shame in that, though. Woking are a very good side. 1-1 at Maidstone. Poor result. I know they've got a new manager now. 2-0 loss to Oldham. They lost, must have been the FA Cup game, 1-0 to Taunton. I know we lost to Colville, but they lost to Taunton. They drew with Dorking, lost to Southend, drew to Eastleigh, drew to Wealdstone, drew to Altrincham, lost to Scunthorpe. Well, I'm not going to say that because we've got Scunthorpe in a few weeks, but they lost to Scunthorpe at their place, haven't won a game yet. And, throughout this whole time we've had the channel, I've thought to myself, things are there to be broken. But I just see a team there low on confidence away from home that I see us winning this game. I really do.
Yeah, I do as well. I think we're a different beast as well. I don't think we can sort of let that little bit of doubt slip in. I don't think the team, they're not like that. And again, I'll say it because I'm just going to keep saying it because it's evident. The mentality, it's different. Little things like that aren't going to creep into the game, I don't think. We've seen a little bit of it this season where doubts have crept in, and I think players have maybe just doubted themselves and lost a bit of rhythm. But for the majority, as the league table suggests, we've been good and dominant. So for me, I can't see it happening. The only way for me, the way I see this game going is Notts.
What scares me the most about opposition, and it happened last year, is when a team, and I use this word a lot. I don't think I use it much on the channel, but I use it a lot when I'm talking to you about Notts things. And it's when a team feels like they're relentless. That's what scares me the most. Stockport last year, they went through that period, didn't they? Win like 19 of 21 or 18 of 21 games. When a side are relentless, then I start to think, this is going to be difficult. And when we drew to Southend, I looked at Wrexham and I thought, they're becoming in that relentless category. Like they're just grinding wins out and they're playing poorly. But then all of a sudden they go and get that draw and we're back on top. We're also now relentless. Wrexham fans must be looking at us and thinking, they've not won, but they've not lost. Or that they're not suffering a hangover from any games. They're winning after. I know we didn't in the Bromley game, but they're just relentless. So that does. I've always been very cautious of sides that are like that. And we are now like that. So Stockport last season was crazy. You had, was it Sutton that just kept winning and you couldn't believe they were winning. Yeah. And it's like, Barrow as well. When a team is relentless, teams are they're frightened of playing them. Should we go to our lineup then? Because it will inevitably talk about the wing backs on the right-hand side when we get into this. It's an interesting debate.
Yeah.
Go on then. What are we thinking formation-wise? The same formation? Got to be for me.
It's got to be, hasn't it? It's got to be. It's one of the factors that's helped us this season, and we are in a good position, a really good position. So it can't change for me. Can't change.
In goal, Sam Slocum.
Yep.
On the left, got to be Chickson.
Yep.
Back three. What are you going for?
I'm going to go Cameron, Baldwin, Brindley.
Okay, I'm going Cameron, Rollo, Brunley. Why would you bring Baldwin in? What's your
I
thinking?
I like Baldwin. You know, I've been sent a couple of things from a few people. You know, talking about, you know, it's the first game Baldwin's not played for a couple of games and we kept a clean sheet. But I think you can sort of criminalize him starting it as much as you like. But I think he's been amazing. I think defensively he's really good. Does some really good last ditch stuff as well. He's good with the ball. He just, for me at this moment, I just think he has the edge over Rawlinson. As good as Rawlinson's been, this is not a dig at Rawlinson because he has been great. But I've really liked what I've seen from Baldwin in the last few weeks.
I agree. I think especially coming forward with the ball and the ball at his feet, really good, very good.
Yeah,
Like defensively, he scored an own goal, but you know,
if he didn't, it would have gone in anyway.
It was offside anyway. The cross was
Exactly,
offside
yeah. And I
anyway.
think he knew that. That's why he did it.
But for me, the main reason I chose Morrison, I think you can't drop him at the minute. It's mainly how good I think Rawlinson's been, and massively. Have you seen his handlebar mustache?
Yeah, it's good.
How
stuff.
can you drop that?
Yeah, it's
you
good.
can't. You can't.
It's impressive. Yeah.
Here we go. Right wing back. This is, and I'm glad it's been turned into a debate because for weeks and weeks we've said Aaron Aman. Now we might say him today, but what do you think?
I think Toby.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think you know in the games he's come on, you can't say he's not been impactful because he has. He's been really good. You know, he's provided a few assists and he's not had that many starts, has he, this season? He brings that height. He's as quick. And I know it's probably harsh on Aaron because he has been so good. He's improved masses. You know, he's sort of in the poll this week for that reason. And it probably is harsh. It is harsh to think that Toby's going to be ahead of him. But for me, Toby edges it. He's probably, from what we've seen, he's got a lot of potential. Toby has, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And he has that aerial threat as well from set pieces because I think he's just 6 foot. So he just has that extra attribute for me.
His build for a wing back is perfect.
Yeah,
like
he's got some serious charisma as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. But anyone like to potentially see him an interview with him? I don't know.
That'd be lovely.
Maybe. But I hate to say this, and there's nothing. There is something he can do about it because he could have stepped back against Southend. Their second goal, Toby's right wing back. They don't score because he cuts the ball out. That's as simple as it is. But Aaron's been fantastic. This is really difficult for me, and I'm still to this minute. I can't make my mind up on Aaron Aman or Toby Alderweireld at right wing back. I'm gonna go.
Go on.
I'm gonna go Toby.
Yeah.
I think just because he played so well and that assist, you've got to reward him for that. You have to reward him for that, in my opinion. But if it was Aaron Aman, you can't say anything other than that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's going to have to be something that Williams manages really well. That is, because for me, that is the most difficult position to pick. You've got two fantastic players that, you know, given the chance in the starting 11, will do a job. And I suppose you can make a case of Sam Austin, but for me, that right wing back position at the moment, it's fierce, isn't it? You've got Toby, who does well when he comes in, and you know does really well again at the weekend, and then you've got Nemain, who's been fantastic for us, and you know a real sort of shock to me of how well he has done.
Yeah. Defo. Midfield, I'm going to put Palmer in there and bring Bajrami back in. Good to get Francis some minutes, but Bajrami comes in for me.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I go Ruben, Scott has to come back in, and Langstaff.
Agreed.
Before we do our score predictions then, let's go for the poll.
Let me just get it up.
If you just join us, George has is it a master's degree in reading out winners of polls? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it doctorate or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on then.
It's yeah, something like that. Who's Luke Williams improved the most? I'll go from the bottom. From the bottom, other He's 1%, and I'd like to see who the other is.
Yeah.
So if you
I didn't
did
spot it
click
in the
other,
chat.
let us know in the chat who the other player is. 75% of the vote, Adam Chickson. 16% of the vote, Aaron Naman. Ruben Rodriguez, 7%.
Where did you go?
I went with the majority. I went Adam Chickson for obvious reasons.
Where do you think I went?
I'm going to say you said Ruben.
I said Aaron Naman. Purely because I already rated Adam Chickson so highly. Like, he's improved Adam Chickson no end. But in terms for me of who's improved the most, I didn't know Aaron Naman came into this side at all.
Yeah. No, it's
He
true.
never
It's a
did
good point.
anything for me that warranted me thinking, like, there was nothing for me that I thought to myself that Aaron Naman will be a starting player week in, week out and be one of the best players on the pitch. So
Yeah, no, that's a good point. To be fair, I agree with you.
but
That's a really good point.
Adam Chickson could easily get it because he's gone
Yeah.
from. I saw a stat. He scored like 3 goals in 320 appearances
Yeah.
before this season. So massive.
Yeah, for me, I think Chickson, and I know you said it, didn't you, in the Grimsby game, after the Grimsby game in the playoffs, that we need to hold on to Adam Chickson, and he needs to be a main player next season. And I agreed with you, right? But you cannot comprehend how well he's done this season. He's improved, like his entire game is improved.
Yeah.
And he's always there at the back post to attack to get a goal. He's missed a cut, like I'm saying, 4 sitters this season. He could have so many more goals.
Definitely.
Given a bit of a better finishing, he could be on track to have a better season than some of our strikers in previous seasons. Do you know what I mean? So
100%.
Credit to Luke on that one.
Right, let's get our scores in. Whilst we're doing our scores, put your predictions in. I'll try and put as many up as possible. And can I say 110 people Thursday night before the big game? Appreciate that so much. Share this with anyone that's not been able to be live and hasn't been to the game before, hasn't been to a Notts match, hasn't been to Meadow Lane, and just try and get them involved and know more about the club, and they're more likely to stay, I think. Also, anyone that's watching that hasn't subscribed, please just do that subscribe button. I'm going to go first today, my prediction. And I'm going to say in my head we get an early goal and I think we win 3-0. And I'm going to say Maka is going to thrive with the big crowd. Hat-trick.
That's good. Sorry, I was giggling at a comment I've seen in the live chat there. I'm not going to say it out, but it's made me laugh. Comment.
Go on then.
I see a big scoreline too. I think 4-0 Notts. I'd like to see Langstaff get a brace. I'd like to see him get a couple of goals. Good goals as well.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't actually care. Whatever, however they go in. I'm going to say the man as well, Chickson, to get one. And Ruben, why not?
There's rumours that 3,000 of the tickets are from scouts, for Maka.
That wouldn't surprise me.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Right, let's see what you guys are thinking then. We've got a 2-0 Notts, Maka ×2. They're coming in very quickly, so I'll try and keep up. David says 2-1. Scott maybe for both. We've got 2-0 Notts, Chickson and Langstaff. Seems to be a popular one. 3-1 Notts, Scott, Maka and Chickson. I'd love Chickson to get another one. Really would. 3-1 Notts, Maka, Scott and Ruben. We've got 4-1 from Chris. Maka ×2, Scott and Ruben. Ellie's gone 3-0, Maka ×2, and Ruben to get the other. Honestly, loads coming in. Shane's gone 4-0, Maka 2, Chickson. And Kyle Cameron needs a goal. We've got a 4-0. James says somewhere between 3-0 and 6-0. Alex says 5-1, early goal and the floodgates open, tight second half. But Maka for 3, Ruben and Cameron. Callum says 6-0, Chickson hat-trick, Maka hat-trick. And I'm going to get 2 more in. Dale says 2-0, Austin, Erling, Langstaff. And then Charlie's gone for 7-0, Maka ×3, Scott ×2, Chickson 1 and Cameron 1. I'm optimistic, Charlie, but I can't see a 7. That would be
good though. Stranger things.
I mean, Chickson nearly got a hat trick. So
yeah.
That brings the end of our show. So I really do appreciate everyone joining us. This number on a Thursday night, we really do appreciate. Your input in the chat has been great tonight as well, giving loads of opinions. And thank you for joining. 80 votes, George, on the poll. 80 votes.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Big numbers.
If you did enjoy seeing the channel mascot, drop us a subscribe. She will be here a few times again. If you did listen on Spotify, it was a savage assault. But as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. And if you're heading to Meadow Lane, have a great day on Saturday.